The Eastern Conference wildcard race is tighter than it's ever been, to put it quite frank. 5 points separate 9 teams, all competing for two wildcard positions, which is just crazy to say. Tampa and Ottawa have games in hand compared to some other teams battling for the playoffs, but we'll talk about each of these individually. The Jackets, the Senators, the Canadians, some teams that people might have pronounced dead, and now they're alive.
Yeah, I would love to see the Columbus Blue Jackets make the playoffs. I just think that would be awesome given everything they've had to go through this season. But this is going to get pretty heated. You would think that the Flyers are probably going to make another push at some point. I feel like they always make a push in the back half of the season, so you know that's coming. I don't think we can declare either of the New York teams totally dead just yet. I think, the Rangers, obviously I know Igor's hurt right now. We've been ripping on them for 2 to 3 pods, but that team, it just takes one game for them to figure it out, and they're going to just be flying again, just given that roster and the talent that they have there. And then the Islanders, you just never know. You just never know what you're going to get with them.
Yeah, like I'd still be pretty surprised if the Rangers just fall over and die. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
really feel like that's going to be their MO. I honestly still think they're going to be a playoff team despite all the turmoil and drama that they've experienced. Not to get into trade rumors here, but like if JT Miller does end up going to the Rangers, that's going to be a huge boost for them. But yeah, man, the Blue Jackets, like these guys are the most fun team in hockey. I know
Yeah.
Cody Pucks on Twitter says this all the time. He's riding and dying with the Blue Jackets, and that cannon's going off like every 5 seconds. High scoring, high energy games. They might let in a lot of goals, but man, they could score a ton of
Yeah, it sort of reminds you of like the 2007,
them.
2008 Caps where they could win games like 6-5, but they're also going to lose some games like 7-5.
Yeah, that seems to be the trend. Columbus is 5-4-1 in their last 10. And I gotta give a shout out to Karelmachenko. This guy is having an unreal season. 43 points through 40 games this season, top 20 in the league in points. I mean, to give you guys some like perspective of the names he's with, he's got the same amount of points as Nylander, Crosby, Aho, Pastrnak. Like this guy's having a really good breakout year here.
Yeah, it's great to see, especially for them, in Columbus. We've joked for so many years about how they didn't really have any exciting players. And, obviously the Patrick Laine thing did not work out. But the fact that they've got an exciting player like this in their roster, I think is definitely putting energy back in that building.
For sure. Then you move on to the Senators, another team I'd like to talk about just for a second. 6-4 in their last 10. They were absolutely cooking up until Christmas. And then Allmark ended up getting hurt. He had 7 straight wins right before the injury, before Christmas, and he's currently listed as week to week with a back injury. So that kind of sucks for the Sens. They've dropped 3 of their last 4 after being on that heater. So we'll see. It looked like they were making a real solid push, but with Allmark out, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen.
And I think they got some scary injury news from practice today with Jacob Bernard Docker going down and then not being able to put any weight on his leg. That looked really, really bad. I really hope that that guy's okay.
Yeah, a massive 3 game slate coming up here for the Senators this week. They've got the Red Wings in Detroit the day you're probably listening to this, which will be Tuesday. And then they've got Buffalo and Pittsburgh later in the week. So all of those are wild card teams in the East that are battling it out. Should be a good one.
This wild card race is interesting. You mentioned those teams, the Sens, the Jackets, the Habs that are sort of, fighting over this wild card spot. All of these teams have really not great goal differentials. And then there's Tampa, who's sitting in that one wild card spot, who's got like a plus 32 goal differential, which is just bonkers.
Yeah, Tampa's legit. I think they could make some serious noise, and I wouldn't be shocked if they're not sitting in that wild card spot by the end of the year. I
Yeah.
could see them being a top three. And then the last team in the wild card race that I think deserves just a little bit of, I guess, recognition. It's a really weird team, but Montreal, they don't really make any sense. In their last 5 games, they're 4-1. They beat the last 4 Stanley Cup champions, and then they lost to the last place team in the NHL, the Chicago Blackhawks. It makes no sense.
That's Habs hockey in a nutshell right there. I mean, I like the line A fit. I'm glad that that's working out for him, and it seems like he's happy there. So hopefully they can continue to put things together. I think if they're close at the deadline, they'll buy.
I wouldn't be shocked. I think the fans, I think ownership is kind of sick of always retooling, rebuilding. They want to make a push. They want to make the fans happy. And if you think St. Louis doesn't want to make the playoffs, you'd be dead wrong. That's one of the most
Oh, he's a
competitive
gamer.
guys.
He wants
Yeah.
to win. He'll do whatever it takes.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens with Montreal. I know it was a sexy preseason pick, like these guys to make the playoffs. Everyone thought they were going to take the next step. So I don't know. It's like it's kind of time to shut up or pucker up, if you will.
Yeah. Well, everyone thought that about Nashville too,
This is also true. Couple signs of life as of late, but yeah, it's still bleak there, if you will.
for sure.